Hello, Black Hat Cougars. Mrs. Sutliff here. I'm so glad you joined me for the read aloud. I'd love to know that you came by, so please scroll down and leave a comment. You can tell me something you like about the book, or you can just say hi. So before I read today, I want to summarize what's happened so far for those of you who missed a day when I came in to read to you. Our book is called Rump, the true story of Rumpelstiltskin. Just like in the traditional fairy tale, there is a miller's daughter, but unlike that story, in our book, Rumpelstiltskin is the main character. His true name is Rumpelstiltskin, but his mother died before she could say his full name, so instead he thinks his name is Rump, which is another word for bottom. So he gets made fun of by the village bullies Bruno and Frederick. They are the miller's sons. Rump lives with his grandmother, and he has to mine for gold in the mountains so they can get rations from the miller. So if he doesn't find gold, he doesn't get any food. In this magical world, there are pixies who can sense gold, and lately they have been pestering Rump. They've been acting like Rump has gold in his pockets, but he doesn't. One day, Rump found a spinning wheel in the woodpile. His grandmother told him that it was his mother's and warned him not to spin anything. She said she doesn't want him to get hurt, but really there's another reason why he shouldn't spin. And one day, Rump met Red, a girl in the village, in the woods, and Red's grandmother came by and told Rump that he would find his destiny and then he would find his name, but he would have to cause a lot of trouble first, and then she also told him to watch his step. So one night, when Rump was awoken by the pixies, he looked down to see straw under his feet, and the pixies seemed to call him to the spinning wheel. So he sat down with the straw and spun it into gold, just like in the traditional fairy tale. Everything seems wonderful, except that the village bullies see Rump with all the gold. So Rump asks Red what he should do. She warns him that magic has consequences. Earlier in the story, Kessler the peddler turned a bit of fuzz into a mouse. This little bit of magic had a huge consequence. All the mice in the mountain came running up to the peddler and chased him away. So what sort of consequence will spinning straw into gold cause? And what will happen with the miller's sons who saw all that gold? Let's read to find out. The next rations day, the line at the mill was very long. Everyone was eager to stock up before winter came, and it was almost here. The air was biting now. There was always frost in the mornings. The pixies were more subdued, and they began building nests for their winter sleep. Now we were just waiting for the snow. When it was my turn, the miller gave me a sack of meal, bigger than usual. I looked at him, surprised. No one else got this much meal. "Gold means food," the miller said gleefully. I looked at him, confused. I had found only a few pebbles of gold in the last week, and the miller wasn't kind or generous. I opened the sack just outside the cottage, and a thick, dusty powder billowed out. I choked and coughed as the dust went into my lungs. The miller had filled the bag with chalk and sawdust. Gold means food. The miller was giving me a message. Chapter 8, Gold Means Secrets. I did not know what to do. We needed food. The miller had the food, and he wanted gold. I had lots of gold, spun into perfect little coils with my mother's spinning wheel, spun with magic that Red insisted was dangerous. "Where are the rations?" Gran asked. I was empty-handed, having thrown away the sack full of sawdust. "I suppose I didn't find enough gold," I said, looking at my feet. "Well, I'll go give that miller a piece of my mind." Gran rose up from her chair, then staggered and fell back. "Gran!" I rushed to her, but she waved me away. "Only a little dizzy spell." She closed her eyes and took a few breaths. Her hands shook. She needed food. I would have to take some of the gold to the miller. Maybe I could mix the coils with some dirt and other gold flecks and pebbles from the mines. He might not notice the difference. But a dark feeling rose in me. If the miller was as greedy as he seemed, he would notice. So I kept the gold hidden and hoped that the miller had only made a mistake with a sack of sawdust. "We will make do," Gran said. "We have the chickens and the goat, so we won't starve." We killed one of our 2 hens. The meat would have to last us until the next rations day. Gran and I ate in silence. Eating the chicken should have been a celebration, a great luxury, but we were both melancholy. My gaze kept wandering over to the spinning wheel and to my bed where the gold was hidden. Gran followed my gaze. I hope you haven't touched that wheel. You don't know how to work it properly. You could hurt yourself. Did my mother hurt herself? I asked. The question flew out of me without warning. Gran froze with a bit of chicken raised to her mouth. She lowered her hands. Why would you ask such a thing? Why didn't you tell me she was from yonder? I asked. Who told you that? Red. Yes, well, her grandmother. What did my mother spin? I asked. Gran stiffened. What did she spin? What do people usually spin? Why, have you... She looked from the wheel back to me. I could see her struggling, trying to decide what to say. Your mother spun trouble, and then left it on my hands, she said. Is that how you think of me? I asked. As the trouble she left? Oh, child. Rump! I shouted. My name is Rump. Gran's eyes were shiny with tears. You are my grandson, Rump. I have always loved you. I have always tried to protect you, and I will do my best to protect you now. Do not concern yourself with your mother or her spinning wheel. It will only bring you sorrow. I didn't ask anymore. I felt strange, like things had shifted around me when I wasn't looking, but I didn't know what it meant. The name of this chapter is Gold Means Food, so it seems to me like Rump is in big trouble. The miller must know Rump's secret thanks to his two sons spotting Rump with all that gold, and he's refusing to give Rump any food until he hands over that gold. Please come back next week to see what happens next, and remember to leave me a comment down below so that I know you came to listen. Thanks for joining me today.